All right, joining us now with reaction, Hudson Institute Senior Fellow Rebeccah Heinrichs is with us, and former U.S. Army Special Forces, the president of the World Strat, Jim Hanson, is with us. Rebeccah, let me start with you. By any objective measure, the world has never seen, and I don't want to really use a phrase from back during the Iraq conflict, shock and awe, but this is shock and awe on steroids, human growth hormone, and basically, for the most part, with, random missiles going out by Iran, they have been rendered militarily impotent at this point. And their ability to fight back is so limited that, to me, watching from afar, it seems like it's a matter of when, not if.
That's right, Sean. The United States has very carefully weighed the risks of a potential military operation in Iran and then is carrying out the execution of that plan incredibly carefully. We saw the first wave of strikes overwhelmingly powerful, and now we're really in the second phase now, cooperating with the Israelis to take out more of the IRGC and the Basij. The Basij, of course, Sean, is that paramilitary group under the IRGC that's responsible for repressing the Iranian people. All of that continues apace while we are destroying Iran's ability to even produce more weapons after we've destroyed the missiles, the launchers, the drones. And so the Iranians at this point only have the ability to essentially terrorize, shooting a drone here, a drone there at civilian targets against Gulf states. So this has been overwhelmingly militarily successful. And as President Trump said today, he'll be willing to discuss with whoever's there in the leadership in the IRGC when he feels like the military outcome has been achieved, Sean.
Yeah, and let me go to you, if I can, Jim Hanson, because I think this is important. It seems that the president is working off three historical lessons that I see. One, Reagan, peace through strength. Two, the last century, Mao, China, Stalin, Russia, Hitler, Germany, fascism, Italy, Tojo, Japan, and Pol Pot, the killing fields. And that is, if you don't act in time and you let a threat emerge, you're making a big mistake and millions potentially can die. And, I would say the third lesson is maybe from Iraq and Afghanistan, and that is get in there, use modern weaponry, the next generation of weaponry, do the job, and get out. And I think the president's working on that premise. That, to me, is the fundamental part of the Trump doctrine that a lot of people don't understand.
I think all of those historical lessons are accurate and are in play, and he's adding the Trump art of the deal. I mean, the idea that he has now got China in the crosshairs to make them help get the oil that they need, that's President Trump doing what he does best. He's taking a situation of his own design. He put the Iranian regime on its back heels, and now he's using that to get the people who need what they have a stranglehold on right now to pony up and do their part. He's always said, it's not my job to be the person who controls everyone's neighborhood. If you have a stake, act like it. If you got skin in the game, you'll do a better job.
And I bet both of you that in the end, that the Iranians will end up paying for their own shot at liberation. Agreed, Rebeccah?
That's right. And President Trump has been consistent on this, that ultimately the future of Iran begins with the Iranian people, that at the appropriate time. And he said, I don't blame the Iranians for not coming out in the streets right now. There's still aerial bombardments happening, and the regime is still repressing its people. So if people come out into the streets, they're being shot at. So at the right time, when the regime has been sufficiently suppressed, then the Iranian people can come out. My hope, Sean, is that the United States, and I'm sure they are, with the Israelis, is working to splinter the IRGC away from the standing army. The standing army is more nationalistic. They're not so ideologically attached to the Islamist revolution. And there might be more defections coming out of the standing army. That might provide us with something like a more compliant regime in the interim. But ultimately, the future of Iran is going to be in the hands of the Iranian people. They're going to have to seize it and take control of their own future.
All right. And we're going to give Jim, we'll give you the last word.
I think Rebeccah's correct there. This is a long game now. If this was going to be a decapitation strike attempt to wipe out the regime, it would have been done differently, and that would have been articulated differently. Now, the conditions have been laid. The Iranian regime is on its last legs, And as the people find that they are no longer as oppressed, and as the rest of the regime peels away, they'll find their moment and they will take control, and the Iranian people will put an end to the Islamic Republic.
All right, Jim, Rebecca, thank you both.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.